Next here on Channel 17.
This is the zebra mussel, a tiny crustacean now spreading through the Great Lakes. No one knows yet whether it will be just a nuisance or an ecological disaster, and lakes beginning to respond to the billions of dollars spent to rescue them from man's abuse. Overall pollution of the lakes has been greatly reduced. Toxic sediments in harbors and river bottoms, the major remaining threat. Now add the zebra mussel. It could cut the food chain that drives the sport fishing industry.
It's a twofold threat. Not only is it going to affect the forage base which supports all the fisheries in the lake, but there's a threat with the spawning sites as well, that the zebra mussel may colonize the spawning sites throughout and leave our fish with no place to spawn. Their fry are basically dependent on zooplanktons and small microorganisms for their growth while they're fries. This is the primary food for the zebra mussel as well. In a wide open area such as Lake Erie and its basins, there's no known methods of control at this point. There is some speculation that species could be eliminated in the lake, that the whole system could totally change rather than the type of species of fish that we deal with now, the perch, the pike, and the bass, things of these nature are salmonoids, that the lake could resort only to bottom-feeding fish due to the fact that fish that would only more or less be cleaning up after the zebra mussel.
For power companies, industries, water suppliers, almost any operation that has intake pipes out in the lake, the concern is that the zebra mussel could cut off some of the water supply by colonizing the pipes. This video from Niagara Mohawk shows the mussels on driftwood, which was by a plant water intake. When water temperature is in the mid-40s or higher, the mussel population just explodes. These were found last October, one colony on an old inner tube. They've also been found at facilities operated by the Erie County Water Authority. Water intakes are ideal for the mussel because a continuous water flow provides a constant food supply. Microscopic plants and algae. Those that have entered the plant have been found in wells which are undergoing frequent checks. Water Authority officials have been studying ways to deal with the threat for well over a year.
The Water Authority's been looking at all of the different types of treatment that other utilities have been using, and presently we use chlorine as our oxidant to disinfect water. And what it's going to entail is us just redirecting our chlorine feeds from several different places in the main plant right down to our to the mouth of our raw water screens. And that's going to enable us to keep our raw water screening equipment and some of our smaller cooling lines and our raw water pumping equipment clear. Fortunately, our intakes are of such size that if any clogging did occur, there would still be sufficient capacity to supply our customers.
The zebra mussel came from Europe, where it infests the waterways. Investigators believe it arrived in the lakes in 1986 when a European freighter pumped its water ballast into tiny Lake St. Clair. In a few short years, it moved from the western end of Lake Erie to Ontario and is established in Lake Michigan near Green Bay. It can spread to fresh water anywhere. Waterfowl could carry young mussels in their feathers and deposit them in lakes and rivers, and man will probably be a carrier as well.
I think the biggest form of spread is going to come from man himself, either on his boat, in the live wells that he keeps either as minnows or as catching, if he fills it in one lake and then decides to go off to another lake in the same day. and empty his water or change his water in that other lake, he could transport them on boat trailers. If a guy were to fish Lake Erie for an afternoon and then go off to, say, Lake Chautauqua in the evening and fish, he could very well spread the mussels on both his boat and his trailer.
That's a mature adult right there. He'll probably pull them off. We collected them out of the well, and then we put them in the tank here where we can see they're piggybacking on top of each other. That's very common, and you'll see in areas where they'll cluster and they'll choke off a cooling line, say in a power plant. They're on top of each other. One of these mussels right here is capable of filtering 1 liter of water a day. So if we were to shut the hand valve off and stop the flow of water in there, they would clean this tank, to crystal clear water. That's how much water they can pump through their bodies.
Could they do anything in terms of the quality of our water, let's say taste, odor?
It remains to be seen. The European experience has indicated that there is potential for taste and odor problems only after the mussel's been brought up into the main part of the filtering plants and actually dies in the plants because it settles out in the treatment process. We do have a concern for that, and we do have a remedy that we hope will work with the use of powdered activated carbon.
Is there any research going on? Any state or federal funds to start researching this early in the game?
Well, currently, the New York Walleye Association and the Southtowns Walleye Association, in conjunction with Buff State, are on a fundraising campaign. The university will be able to start some early necessary research on the zebra mussel. Currently, on the state and federal level, there's a lot of promise and a lot of talk of funding, but it's something that's down the road. It takes time to release this type of funding, and we feel that it's very important that research begins in its early stages so that during colonization we're not overcome by the mussel before the research has a chance to start.
Lake Erie's sport fishing industry is worth hundreds of millions of dollars a year. The lake produces more fish than the rest of the Great Lakes combined. But all of that is mortgaged now by the threat of the zebra mussel. Industries can probably manage. Chlorination kills them, so will very hot water. But how do you get rid of them out in that lake? How do you protect this ecosystem? Finding those answers may be one of the major environmental challenges of the 90s.
Celebrate Earth Day with Channel 17. Tune in Sunday, April 22nd for programs committed to our environment.